So let's continue our inspirational stories. Our next guest has a personal journey about overcoming a major life challenge that has most likely touched all of us in some way: cancer. But cancer was just the beginning for our speaker in what ultimately became a path to a brighter future. So from Coldwell Banker Village Green Realty in upstate New York, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lindsay Quayle.
I got the eye of the tiger, dancing through the fire, 'cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me.
Hello, everyone. 7 years ago, I was 32 years old and was entering a whole new world. It started with a stabbing pain in my groin that shot me out of bed one night, gasping for air, wondering what was going on. Then the pain came back, beginning to spread out in my body, slowly going down my legs and up my back, over my entire body. As the weeks passed, it got so bad that I had become unable to walk normally, hobbling around the house with a cane. I had to stop working. I grew weak and was mostly bedridden, enduring now daily pain, so weak that even the bed sheets and household objects like paper towel rolls were hard to lift. As we tried to figure out what was going on, my primary doctor put me on strong medical opioids that barely managed the now extreme pain, spiking and becoming chronic. After a few scans, the doctor revealed it was most likely some form of lymphoma, but we were still searching for answers. My body then started to shut down, and I had to fight every day. There were nights the pain was so extreme that even with the meds, I would literally howl in pain. Next thing I knew, I was in the ambulance being rushed to the ER. They were telling me I was severely anemic and was being admitted to the hospital for further testing and analysis. Here I am, sitting in my hospital bed, not knowing what was really going on, and smiling through the pain, though, like a true future salesperson. After 6 days in the hospital, a lymph and bone marrow biopsy, 2 blood transfusions, turning into a living skeleton, and a hospital transfer, came a moment of truth. It had been a surreal month, and I had already been through so much that I'd practically surrendered to the process. I was only focused on undergoing whatever treatment I had to go through just to make this pain go away. But I'll never forget the day that I was diagnosed. My oncologist, ironically named Dr. Sichter, had a great bedside manner and a much-needed sense of humor. He looked me square in the eye and gently gave me a terminal diagnosis: Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4B, one of the worst diagnoses. He told me to pull up a chair next to him so he could show me my most recent CAT scan. He said, "Look, you're all lit up like a Christmas tree. Looks like someone threw cancer all over you. With that much cancer in your body, you should already be dead." In fact, he'd never seen someone with that much cancer in their body that was still alive. And that's actually me. That's my scan. Pretty shocking considering my age, but no surprise considering what I had been through. Now, at this point, most people would break down in tears, but my reaction was to laugh and say, "Well, here I am. I'm not dead yet." When I asked him why I was still alive against all the odds, first he pointed to me and said, "It's you. It's your spirit and your positive attitude." He then pointed up and said, "And it's, well, you know." Even numerous nurses and assisted me mirrored his sentiments, saying that a patient's attitude greatly affects their survival and health, and that they'd seen people with less severe cases deteriorate quickly with a bad attitude and a grim outlook. But I was determined to survive. Even on the edge of death, even after being told I should be dead, I strangely never for a moment had the "I'm going to die" moment. I knew that this was simply a difficult detour in life that I had to endure that would make me stronger and wiser, and I would beat it. I got my port installed, I cut my hair, and ceremoniously shaved my head. This actually wasn't the first time I had shaved my head. When I was 17, I willingly shaved it at my summer art school because it was one of the few edgy hairstyles I hadn't tried yet. But anyway, I jumped into a week of radiation and began 6 grueling months of chemo. The chemo was so strong, I could only have it every other week. And when I started, there was no end in sight. I just hoped it would at least ease the pain and maybe beat the cancer. Dr. Sichter put me on the strongest chemo available for my diagnosis. When he started the treatment, he joked that, well, if this doesn't work, we're gonna have to send you to Germany, because apparently there's even stronger chemotherapy available there. But cancer sucks. Chemo sucks. Well, it feels sucky. The fatigue is unreal. I had daily nausea, and my appetite was greatly affected. It was so surreal not being able to have the energy and be able to do the things I wanted to do or eat when I wanted to eat. There were some days I would wake up, and one part of me would feel terrified, screaming out, and the other side, at the same time, would feel confident, somehow that everything was gonna be okay. I would get regular CAT scans to monitor my progress, and in December, 3 months into my 6-month treatment, I went to my regular follow-up appointment after a recent scan and was hoping to hear what I had heard every other time, that the chemo was working and the cancer was slowly receding. But this time, Christmas came early, and halfway through my treatment, Dr. Sichter shared I was miraculously cancer-free. Here I am smiling ear to ear with the good news, looking like a chemo patient, but already looking healthier and stronger. The day he delivered the good news, he looked at me with the same marvel as when he gave me my terminal diagnosis. It was unbelievable. People with my diagnosis didn't usually do that well so quickly. It was truly a miracle. When I asked him why it worked, he said, well, we don't really know why it works better for some people more than others. And I was just what they call a super responder. I'll take it. It was fantastic news and a great relief to us all. And while I was miraculously cancer-free 3 months into the treatment, they insisted I continue through the entire course for the win, and I happily obliged. Chemo ended up being a tabula rasa experience for me. It magically wiped away all the BS in my life. All the superficial things just fell away. Things that people use to define themselves, like the clothes they wear, the way they look, what they do day to day, their jobs, their hobbies, all of those things disappeared for me during chemo, along with the old me and my fear of death. In those moments of pure survival, just existing moment to moment, I took an opportunity to look deep within myself and found my true, raw spirit. I had the opportunity to wipe the slate clean and see myself for the first time. Here I am at the end of 6 months of treatment, still smiling all the way to the finish, looking like a crazed velveteen rabbit, just barely holding on to my eyebrows and hair. So everything was good, right? Well, almost. Recovery was just as challenging as the time leading up to my diagnosis and the treatment itself. I had to start over, rebuild my blood and my body, come off 1.5 years of strong medical opioids, rebuild my finances, practically from nothing. As my hair grew back, I took odd jobs and stayed with friends, renting rooms to save money. Life was unstable and a bit of an emotional roller coaster. But as my hair grew back, I did discover I had been rewarded with fabulous chemo curls. A wonderful, short, but very sweet reward. A year into my recovery, I'd regained enough strength to get a part-time job in a local kitchen and start back up with my cleaning/housekeeping business that had since been put on hold. I managed to rent a sparsely furnished apartment, slept on the floor, lived in a very tight budget, and worked long hours, determined to rebuild my life. In 2018, the doctors felt confident enough in my remission that they removed my port. For those of you who don't know what a port is, it's a bionic vein that they put in to help deliver the chemo to your body safely. They had initially prepared me to keep the port in for 5 years, but I recovered so swiftly, it came out 2 years early. I finally got a car. My housekeeping business took off. I started getting stronger, exercising, doing martial arts. Happily grateful to have found my strength again and be able to move in my body again. Shortly into that year, many of the housekeeping clients that I had started asking me to assist in property management related things, rentals and such. And with a little research, I quickly realized if I wanted to do it right, well, I needed to get my real estate license. And where does one turn when they need to get a trusted guide to help them into real estate? Well, Coldwell Banker, of course. Here I am as a baby agent, proudly showing my first sign going into the ground. In June of 2019, I joined Coldwell Banker Village Green Realty in Woodstock, New York, and started my career as an agent. What blew me away about my brokerage was the support, not only from Village Green Realty, but Coldwell Banker as a whole. The training, the resources, and opportunities were and are incredible. I've never felt a lack of support with my brokerage or doubted that I made the right choice. I'm now 4 months into my 3rd year of real estate, a top producer with 2.6 million gross sales in 2020, and now going for my associate broker at 3 million gross so far this year. I always thank my associates and managers for their support, and they always throw it right back at me and say, no, it's you who's responsible for your success. But it's still up for debate. It's still up for debate. But really, it's a truly amazing and inspiring group of people. When I chose Coldwell Banker, my life took off, my business took off, and has now evolved into a property management company. So all in all, I'm feeling much, much better. This experience has taught me that sometimes the only way around something is to go straight through it. Sometimes the biggest blessings in life come wrapped in ugly, really scary packages. I learned to play the cards you're dealt, no matter how bad they seem. And most wonderfully, that learning your friends and family and community hold the most unexpected gifts and resources if you're just willing to reach out to them. All of those lessons definitely helped me as a salesperson as well, and I'm sure will help you as well. But who could have thought that enduring excruciating pain and almost dying would be what ultimately brought me to find myself renewed health, a supportive community, and financial freedom. After beating the odds, I know I can do anything I put my mind to. Choosing Coldwell Banker was the final push in my recovery to help me pursue the life of my dreams and find real success. You never know what you can accomplish until you ask, and you never know how strong you are until you're tested. With every setback, there's an even greater setback. An even greater comeback. I'm eternally grateful to have shared my story with you tonight. May it inspire you to never fear, even in the face of death. Thank you.